Hey everybody, welcome back to another video within the Generative AI series. And yes, we've been playing around with function calling functionality. Function calling functionality, that sounded good. So yeah, we've been playing around with function calling with our assistants for a while. If you haven't seen the videos, especially the previous two videos, I would recommend you please go and watch it. And for this whole series, we have been building up our assistant and we have been improving it with every video. So I would really recommend you to actually go back and watch the complete series. It's one of a kind, trust me. You won't regret it. So in this video, what we're gonna do, we're gonna generate the parameters for our function, since we are only using one function, which happens to be our place order function. Now, this function doesn't take any parameters, and within the previous video, we just tested the whole workflow out where, this function is recommended to be called. I'm being very careful with my words. Recommended to be called. So your assistant doesn't actually call your function, but it figures out whether it should be called based on the response of the customer or your interaction. Uh, when I say your, it means like if you're the customer, sort of talk to your assistant in a way that, hey, I want to place an order for 2 leather bags, or I need 2 stainless steel bottles. So in those terms, your assistant would actually figure out a way to recommend it to you that, hey, this is a good time and you should place an order. Now we move one step forward from this particular position that we're in. We need that whenever we reach out to our assistant and we inquire about a product, and we ask our assistant to place the order, we want our assistant to figure out, the quantity of it and also figure out the product ID, which is listed within this, beautiful JSON file. Uh, this particular ID to be very specific. Like if I'm asking for running shoes, my assistant should be smart enough to figure out that, okay, running shoes ID equals 2. So this is what we want. And this is what we're going to achieve. So let's scroll down over here. All right, so this loop, as stated before, is where all the action happens. And this is where we actually figured out that, okay, if the status is equal to requires action, then it means that our particular run instance wants us to sort of execute our function. And we distributed our tasks in 3 different steps. The very first one being fetch out tool call. The second one being need to call the function. Here we are calling the function and fetching out the output. And the third and the final step, need to submit the response to our assistant, which is a must. Otherwise, your run instance status would be stuck with requires action and it won't go any forward. It would just expire after 10 minutes, which we also stumbled across within our previous video. So yeah, cool stuff. All right, so let's start from the beginning. So we say fetch tool call ID. Now what we really need to do, we need to change this function a bit, just a teeny tiny bit. We just need to remove the ID from here and we need to sort of return the whole thing, because this is exactly where we get our function parameters. Like this run instance has every detail, and within this detail, we're just gonna fetch out the whole thing. So we don't want it to sort of return the ID. So I'm just gonna remove the ID from here and I'm gonna call it fetch tool call. Perfect. I'm gonna update this over here and I would say tool call. And since we're passing the ID over here, I'm just gonna tool call and ID. Perfect. Okay. So now we have the ID and we have the whole tool call instance. The next step is that we need to sort of fetch out the function arguments from this particular object. Now we can do that by just typing in. Okay, let's create a try catch block first, because I don't want to run into scenarios, not try catch, it's except. I keep forgetting that. And I need exception, and I need exception as error, or let's just type in a. Okay, so like I was saying, I don't want to run into a scenario where my run instance is stuck within the requires action state again, which happened before, and then you have to wait till it expires. So just to cater that, it's pretty convenient to sort of wrap it up into a try catch or try except block. So the steps we're gonna follow here are, we're gonna type in some logging over here. Let's say function arguments. Yeah, that's a better word. And let's just, okay, this looks perfect. Next, we need to parameters or arguments, whatever you want to call. This would be fetched in from tool call dot function dot arguments. Now this would be sort of stringified. I've tried it before, so I know this bit. So for that you need to use json.loads, just to make sure that you have the whole JSON in itself. Perfect. So we have our function parameters now. Now we can play around with it. So let's type in output over here. We still need an output, and because we will sort of get rid of this from here, but we'll update the comments later. Let's type in the whole thing. So next we need to say placeholder function parameters dot get, and we need okay, now we need to figure out how to set up our function parameters. But since we need ID, we'd be doing something like this: ID and function parameters dot get quantity. Okay, and besides that, yeah, that's pretty much it. This is what we need our function to expect. So it should be, let's just call it product ID, and let's call it quantity. Let's update this over here as well. Product ID and quantity. Perfect. So in case if it runs up into some sort of error, we need to print out the error. That's the very first priority. Error, and we need to submit the E here. We need to convert this to F string. Perfect. Okay, and in case we get an error, we still need to run the function with some of our default parameters. Let's just say ID1 and quantity 2. All right. This looks good. So for the submit output, we need thread ID, we need a run ID, and we need tool call ID. We're fetching that. Perfect. And we need the output as well. Okay. Let's just update this. We don't need this anymore. And we can say hashtag need to call the function and fetch arguments. So we're done here. So if we run this, obviously it's not gonna work because our assistant, the one we created earlier, didn't expect any such function with arguments. So if you remember, we created a function placeholder without parameters. So what we need to do, we have to start from like the very beginning, like a clean slate, and we'll have to create our assistant again, and we'll have to inform our assistant that, you know what, you have to expect a place order function with two parameters. The very first parameter is product ID, and the second parameter is quantity. All right, so this is what our create assistant file looks like right now, but we need to update it, and we need to do something like this. So within the parameters object, we need to inform that we are expecting some properties. Properties being product ID, which happens to be of type number, and we have laid out a comprehensive description, the product ID of a product that user wants to place the order. These IDs can be fetched from product details.json. A bit verbose, but I think this is going to help the assistant. The second one, again, is of type number, being quantity, and we have a little description over here as well. The quantity of the product that user needs. For example, the user can say, I need 2 stainless steel water bottle. Perfect. So let's save this and let's run it. Okay, I need to switch tabs and let's get rid of this. Perfect. All right, function calling assistant, we need to AY. All right, we have our assistant and thread ID. Let's copy paste it. You know the drill. The next, we need to update our .env file. So just give me a minute to do that first. Perfect. So I've updated my .env file with the assistant ID and the thread ID, and just gonna go back to OpenAI's interface. And as you can see, our Wolf of Walmart has been created, and with all the instructions. So we are good to go. So let's dive into our speaking assistant code. So everything looks great over here. Let's give it a try. So I'm gonna clear this off and I'm gonna type in Python speaking assistant.py. All right, moment of truth. Let's talk. Hey, I need a wireless mouse. I really do need one. Oh.
Yes, we have an ergonomic wireless mouse available in stock. If you are looking to purchase it, I can assist you further with that.
I would like to place an order for 2 of these wireless mouses. Oh, perfect. So
your order for 2 ergonomic wireless mice has been successfully placed. If you need any further assistance or wish to inquire about more products, feel free to ask. Thank you for your purchase.
Okay, I stand corrected. Not mouses, it's mice. What were you thinking? Let's see if it has all of our details. So where do I find them? So we have function arguments over here, function calling, run instance. We have the details here, not relevant. Place order. Okay. For some reason, don't we have any? Oh man, I didn't sort of put a printing statement over here. So let's say ID equals product ID and quantity equals quantity. Let's clear this out. Let's run this again. Hey, do you have any headphones?
Yes, we do have Bluetooth headphones available, but I noticed that they are currently out of stock. If you're interested, I can assist you with finding a different product or notify you when they become available again.
Oh, that's generous. It's okay. I would like to buy running shoes instead. Oh, there we go. So let's
Your
see.
order for the running shoes has been placed. If you have any more inquiries or need further assistance, feel free to reach out. Thank you for choosing to shop with us.
Okay, so running shoes has ID 2. Perfect. Um, let's try something else. I need to buy a professional DSLR camera. Okay, it's in progress. 12. We get ID 12. Let's see if the ID 12
Your order for the
match.
professional DSLR camera has been placed. If you need
Perfect.
any further assistance or have more inquiries, feel free to ask. Thank you for choosing to shop with us.
I need 3 Bluetooth speakers. Okay, we get ID 28 and quantity 3. Let's check.
Your order for 3 Bluetooth speakers has been placed. If you have any further questions or need
Perfect.
additional assistance, feel free to reach out. Thank you for your purchase.
Thank you for serving me. So guys, this is it. So you can see now we can sort of ask our assistant and rely on our assistant to generate certain parameters for us. And uh, this doesn't just end here because we're not doing anything constructive within this function, but we have the parameters and we can use these parameters within our API calls, even to, sort of save them locally or, on a storage wherever we want through our APIs. So quite a lot of interesting stuff. Perfect. I guess I'll see you in the next video then. Take care till then.